photograph of Furious as completed in 1917, and as this is where we're starting from for this project. So the ships, I need to get you guys off my side. Thank you. The ship's senior aviation officer, Squadron Commander Edwin Dunning, on the 2nd of August 1917, successfully landed his Sopwith pup on the flying off deck after passing by the superstructure and side-slipping onto the deck, relying also, as you can see in this image, on members of the crew seizing hold of toggles on the machine to assist in holding it down. He made another landing on the 7th of August, but when he attempted to repeat the success later in the day, his engine failed, the pup went over the side, and Dunning was knocked out in his cockpit and drowned. His successor, Squadron Commander Frederick Rutland, who was nicknamed Rutland of Jutland by the popular press for his reconnaissance work on a short 184 seaplane during the battle, continued his experiments but quickly stopped them, reporting to the Admiralty that a pilot conducting such operations would have a life expectancy of 10 landings. Thereafter, Furious operated solely as a launching platform. Admiral Beatty urged that Furious be fitted with an aft landing on deck as a result of these experiments, although the pilots themselves were less sanguine. The ship was returned to Armstrong's Walcott Yard in November 1917 for extensive modifications to make the ship more suitable for aircraft operations. The remaining 18-inch turret and the mainmast were removed, and a second hangar added on the quarterdeck. A long landing on deck, it's almost 300 feet long, stretching from the after end of the hangar to just above the funnel, was laid over it. The two aftermost 5.5-inch guns on each side were relocated to free up space for additional accommodation, offices, and workshops below the flight deck. This sketch design is interesting because it shows 6 3-inch high-angle guns, although Furious has actually completed, after this conversion, only shipped 2, the 2 previously cited before the funnel. It also shows 4 triple 21-inch torpedo tubes installed ahead of the new hangar, and the as-fitted drawings clearly show these in position. Here's the as-fitted. If you look just between the hangar and the superstructure forward of it, you can see the 2 of the 4 triple 21-inch torpedo tubes. And also all the office spaces and accommodations and workshops that were incorporated below the flight deck. This design work was based on work already done for converting the cruiser Vindictive to a similar format. In these drawings, one can see the forward flying deck has been enlarged to match the forecastle deck below, and also the new aft flying on deck. There are 2 lifts, or elevators if you're being an American. The hatch previously serving the forward hangar was replaced with a hydraulically powered lift, and the aft hangar was served by an electrically powered lift, offset slightly to starboard at the front of the hangar. The Admiralty took this opportunity to compare the 2 different options, found hydraulic power superior, and this became the standard for future aircraft carriers. Note also the trackways abeam the funnel connecting the 2 flying decks. These trackways were 11 feet wide, and they're called trackways because they actually were built up in such a way that the aircraft wheels would be retained in place, but it still was a crazy operation to move aircraft from front to back. Because this design was derived from work already begun for HMS Vindictive, the conversion was accomplished very quickly. Between December 1917 and March 1918, so the whole thing was done in actually less than 4 months. Note the goalposts above the funnel. These supported rope buffers an early form of crash barrier to catch landing aircraft before they hit the funnel and the remaining superstructure. This stern view shows the big door in the aft face of the hangar, with a platform below it and a substantial crane to port. This arrangement was intended to facilitate operation of seaplanes in calm conditions. This view also shows the relocated 5.5-inch guns. The triple torpedo tubes under their triangular armored covers are just visible on the quarterdeck ahead of the hangar on the original print. I don't think you'll be able to see them on this print of prints. And this overhead view, you can see the two hangars, the two lifts, and you can see how the after lift is offset to starboard. The concerns expressed by Furious's aviators before the conversion proved to be correct. Air eddies caused by the funnel and forward superstructure combined with the boiler effluents made landing a hazardous operation. Trials after Furious's recommissioning demonstrated this. Only 3 of 13 landings did not result in crashes. Furious operated flying off aircraft only, although the new hangar aft was very useful since it increased the carrier's aircraft capacity. Furious's most successful operation in this new guise was the attack on the German Zeppelin sheds at Tondern on the early morning of August 19th, 1918. The carrier flew off 7 Sopwith Camels for the approximately hour-and-a-half flight to the target. The attack surprised the Germans, and the Camels destroyed 2 Zeppelins in their sheds. 3 aircraft landed in Denmark, and their pilots were interned. 3 ditched, and the pilots were rescued, and 1 aircraft was not seen after the attack, and the pilot was lost. After the armistice, Furious joined the Atlantic Fleet and operated briefly in the Baltic in support of White Russian forces fighting against the Bolsheviks. The carrier was decommissioned in November 1919, and almost immediately afterwards, design work to convert the carrier into a flush deck carrier began, and the ship was gradually stripped down to the upper deck in preparation for this. My model of Furious in this guise was not completed because I had an accident and had to have surgery on my left hand, the index finger and the thumb, which meant that I was out of action model building. So I prevailed upon Jim Baumann to let me have some images of his superb model of HMS Furious. Mine is a scratch build. His is built from a much modified loose cannon resin kit. And what follows are various images of what he has accomplished. Bear in mind, this model is just a hair over 12 inches long. He decided not to build his model with a full air group operating. Instead, he referred to a photograph or a series of photographs which exist of a dirigible balloon that was landed aboard Furious. On the model, there are something like 300 figures. The pencil is to give you an idea of how big his Sopwith 1.5 strutter is. And again, the pencil is there for scale. And there's the handling crew for the airship. And that is it.